Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to the channel. Today, folks, we are going to be looking at creating a new character. Now, of course, this new character, as you can see here, is going to be a Warlock. Now, this is one of the characters I intend to take into the Wrath of the Lich King. And, of course, this decision has come with your guys' help, to be fairly honest. So, quite a while ago, I put out a poll here on the channel with regards to what characters you would guys like me to play next. Of course, that is aside the fact that I do want to make myself a Death Knight character. So basically, in the long run, the characters that I'll be taking into the Wrath of the Lich King will be this particular character right here. So a Warlock, my Paladin, and a Death Knight. Now, there might be, of course, other characters that I will make along the way, but that is to be decided. There's nothing really that I have decided as of yet. But going back to the topic at hand, as I have said, I did ask on the channel what kind of class I should make next. I put out a poll, and people have voted on that poll. And so, as a result, I'm going to show you the results, so to speak, of the poll, and therefore this is where we are at currently today. So, of course, with that said, I will put up the results of the poll. You can see quite a few people have voted on it, and the Warlock has won by, I would say, at the time of making this video, around 50% or very close to it. The other classes, of course, did have some votes, but here we are with a new character. I have decided to name my character Akatosh, and before we do start the journey, well, we do have a bit of arrangement to do here on the screen, but also I wanted to thank everybody that have supported the previous series that will continue to carry on. At the time of release of this particular video, there will be, of course, another series, one involving a Warlock character being leveled up to 70, and when we get the Death Knight, that will also come out as well. So the Death Knight is not far off. I am looking forward to building a Death Knight. Now, I'm thinking with regards to the Death Knight that I'll probably go with a DPS stroke tank build, or tank stroke DPS build. This one, of course, the Warlock, when I first played, or when I played World of Warcraft many years ago, this ended up becoming my main character, and I personally quite enjoyed playing a Warlock. Okay, so I have set up everything that I need to. We are at the starting zone, so to speak. I have done this fairly recently, so I kind of know what I need to do. This time around, I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as possible. I'm looking forward to actually playing the Warlock because it is a class that is dear to my heart. This is actually, like I said before, the class that ended up becoming my main. First character that I ever created in World of Warcraft was, of course, a hunter, but at that time I knew very little to nothing about it. I did attempt to help or join in Karazhan raids and stuff like that when I created it. Did not know anything about building, creating, or attunement processes and all that sort of stuff. And it was only after I don't know, several months went by, I'd say, that I decided to start a new character. Went with a Warlock, found how fun the Warlock was, but at that point in time I already knew very vaguely, I guess, what the game was about. So leveling up the Warlock ended up becoming more and more fun. By the time I got to 70, I ended up really enjoying the Warlock, so it replaced my Hunter. And my Hunter just basically was a farming tool to make money, so to speak, and manage, more or less turned into a bank alt. So this became my main class. Now, it was fun. I really enjoyed playing it. You could summon, I think that happened in Wrath of the Lich King, I believe, that we get the, I think it's called Portal of Summoning or something like that. We can bring up a portal and people can summon other players into the dungeon. I don't know if that's what's going to happen with this patch. But I did raid Karazhan with this. I did do endgame content. It was absolutely fun. I think my build was on Affliction, but then when Dual Spec came out, I did kind of play around with Demonology as well. I haven't really decided what I'm going to go with this now. I'm kind of split between Affliction and Demonology. Demonology sounds like fun. We'll see if we actually know how to play this compared to the Paladin. Bear in mind, when I started playing the Paladin, I kept wanting to do what I do right now and play from a distance. And so, as you can see right here, I'm killing things pretty decently quick. I do like the whole thing. Of course, this is just, what, level 2 right now. So, we've got many more levels to go. If we think about it, we're going to end up having to work our way up all the way to level 80. I do want to keep at least the Warlock and the Death Knight as main characters. That I'll be, I suppose, relying on fairly heavily in the Wrath of the Lich King content. With that said, of course, just for those that kind of recently subscribed to the channel and know me for doing this World of Warcraft stuff, I do also do other types of content here on the channel. And so with that said, Conan Exiles is about to release a new update to the game, so I'm gonna have to cover that as well as World of Warcraft. So that means for me it's going to get a bit busy. Of course, with that I do also have other things such as a job and a family that I need to take into consideration. So we'll see how I manage with time management, and just having available time is always kind of been a struggle for me. So we'll see exactly how that works out. But nonetheless, World of Warcraft is here to stay. There are, as I said, and I've promised in the past videos, things that I do want to make guides on. Of course, as I play more and more and read more and more about what is going to happen and the changes that will be coming, I do realize that some of the guides that I was initially going to make might become null, in the sense of there's no point in making them anymore, because the Wrath of the Lich King DLC will, of course, change quite a bit of content. So wait for that to happen. Wait for me to get accustomed to that, and then take it from there. Recheck what I need to do. There's no point in making a guide when we are days away, really, from basically a whole change in the system. Potentially, if we think about, you know, the whole Northern being released as well, maybe a month or just over a month. So really no point in starting anything. So I think the first thing I want to do is I'm going to focus heavily on getting my characters leveled up, getting them Northern ready, even if it doesn't mean that I need to farm gear. Just getting them ready and having these 3 classes that I intend to take into Northern, my bad, ready to go, or near enough. Like I said, Paladin remains the main focus. I'm going to enjoy the Death Knight because it was a class I did enjoy, and I know I'm going to thoroughly enjoy the Warlock. So I guess with that, I did want to, I suppose in a way, thank everybody for actually voting for the Warlock, because I was kind of hoping to do the Warlock, but then it was one of those things that was a debate for me, in the sense of that is a class I played before, and so when I picked up, or re-picked up World of Warcraft, better said, I went for the Paladin because it was a class that I didn't have, that I didn't play. So I thought I'd try something different, and kind of crossed my fingers and hoped that I would enjoy it, which it is true. I do enjoy it. It is different to what I'm used to playstyle, but it is nonetheless enjoyable. And I can't wait to see what changes will come for the Paladin class. I'm glad that I got to experience it, I suppose, the class in classic style, and I'm guessing that Wrath of the Lich King will bring some changes. Now, one of the things I'm looking forward to, personally speaking, when it comes to Wrath of the Lich King, is going to be the achievements. That is something that I spent a lot of time when I actually played the game working on and trying to perfect, to achieve, if that makes sense, on top of raids and all the other bits and pieces. Now, I'm probably going to end up doing that. I just don't know exactly what I'll be doing it on, what I'll be focusing heavily on. Probably, possibly the Paladin. Might even do it on the other two classes. It really does depend on how I do for time, what else is happening in the background, both in terms of the games that I cover, but also personal life as well. So hopefully this will remain for a long time here on the channel. I'm glad that I kind of came up with this idea to put World of Warcraft on the channel, and we'll see where this goes, how this evolves as well. This is just something that I'm enjoying, to be fairly honest. There's a good community here. It's actually nice to interact with a bunch of people that you don't know. And yeah, I mean, it brings back many, many memories of my early years where I spent many hours on this game. So yeah, it's definitely a throwback, a good positive throwback. So I'm looking forward to discovering some new skills and looking at combinations with the Warlock. Of course, there is a bit of remembering to do here. Now, thankfully, whilst I'm chatting with my guild here and trying to engage with you folks, we are not really in a hostile zone, so that makes life easier for us, but things will get up and become a bit more dangerous for us. We'll see how we manage with the Warlock, but right now, just the fact that I can basically hit things from a distance actually feels really nice. Definitely a positive and good change from just having to walk up to them and fight them. Now, the ever existing problem for a spellcaster is, well, mana. I keep running out of mana. We haven't got any of our tools as it currently stands to manage mana, where we convert life into mana, so sometimes a bit of waiting does help. We also do have the good old-fashioned mana drinks. Now, of course, I'm thinking for this class in terms of professions, of either doing alchemy and herbalism, or herbalism and tailoring. If I do tailoring, it just means I can produce my own armor, which would be very useful. There we go, another level for us. Or if I do, which I think is more useful, alchemy and herbalism, that means I can produce my own drinks. So when I use Life Tap, which is an ability that basically consumes the life to convert it into mana, I can then refill it with a potion. I think that for raids will be very useful, and I don't really know if it's going to produce any gold. That's the thing that I need to keep in mind, but I'm probably more inclined, as it currently stands, to choose the alchemy and herbalism professions. They should be fairly easy to keep on top of as we level up. I'm hoping that herbs will be plentiful here on the game as we progress through the content. So I did also get myself, as you can see, invited into the guild that I have my main character. I'm actually quite happy with the guild. It's very social, very friendly. Really don't have anything but positive things to say about the guild, to be fairly honest. So my experience in this guild has been quite a good one. They also raid, which is a positive. There's a lot of things that they do together, and you know what, just the general banter that you can have here without actually offending anybody is actually a welcome breath of fresh air. So I cannot wait to actually get a wand instead of using a dagger. A warlock and a dagger does not really work too well for me. I much prefer using a wand and doing things from a distance. I find that it suits my playstyle better, to be honest. But unfortunately, well, when we start out, mana is a problem. As I level this up, I'm also thinking, so my chain of thought is that I will try and level up in different zones. And with that said, I will also, of course, try and take advantage of the buff that we have where we get 50% additional XP here for leveling up. It does seem to work, and I think this time around I want to go and level up in zones that I haven't really been. I think initially I will stick to so one zone that you will see is Stranglethorn Veil. So the reason for that is quite simply because you can actually pull 10 levels in there. I know it's lengthy and sometimes tedious, but the fact that that is a zone with that many quests and that many things to do, that it takes you from I believe 30 to 40, so that's 10 levels, possibly even more. I think that is a good zone to level up. Of course, in between that, we'll also be doing dungeons and stuff like that. So I'm quite curious to see how we fare up in dungeons with the Warlock, having a little bit of a friendly DPS competition with my other DPSers and seeing how that works. You know, tweaking out my rotation with the Warlock. It's all about the damage, at least for me. Of course, there's also utility for the Warlock that I look forward to playing around with. I mean, so far this has been quite enjoyable. It's nice to actually fight things that don't kill us too quickly. You bear in mind though, this is the starting zone, so it's not really meant to shock you into quitting, if that makes sense. So it does start with a reasonable difficulty. Now, when I played the Warlock, right, I got so good at playing the Warlock. Bear in mind, this is classic we're talking about, but I could actually DPS down multiple targets really quickly, so that was well cool for me. I was really efficient at managing mana, at playing the class, at basically leveling up and grinding. So
Looking for something specific?
When I say grinding, of course, grinding for specific resources to then convert them into money via the auction house or whatever other in-game tool that was available to me. But like I said, I could basically do multiple targets on the Warlock, and the pet actually played a major role. Now, as I remember it, the Warlock does have several pets, all with different utilities. So that's one of the things I need to vaguely refresh my memory on. And what I mean by that, of course, is I want to see how the spells work, or what rotation works best, depending, of course, on what I decide to specialize in. But also, I'm quite intrigued to see how the different pets work. Now, I vaguely remember the, let's call it purposes, I suppose, of the pets, but that is just a memory, and sometimes, of course, with stuff like memories, it can actually differ from the actual reality of it, if that makes sense. I remember it in a certain way. I guess this is what I mean by it. I remember it in a certain way, but the way I remember it is not the entire truth, if that makes sense. So, of course, the game has had some changes. It's not vanilla. It's got some tweaks here and there. So, of course, keeping in consideration the possible tweaks, and of course all my memories, which may be true or flawed, we'll find out. We'll see exactly how things work. I did used to use, of course, the Void Walker and Imp quite a bit. Imp for damage, Void Walker for tanking. Now we have two abilities here, so that is cool. We have gained a new spell, which is Immolate, and we are looking, well, when I say we, I mean me, I am looking forward to using it and making the best of it. Let's see how quickly I can start DPSing things down. Now, there are several abilities that I'm looking forward to getting. Again, I'm quite curious to see how I'll perform in a dungeon DPS wise. I guess with patience and time, I'll get a chance to experience that. But as I remember it, the Warlock relies a lot on dots, damage over time abilities, to stack them up and then basically move on from one target to another. That's one way of doing it. Of course, we also, I think it's called Rain of Fire or something like that. That's also a good AoE. So it'll be it'll be interesting to play this class. There's a lot of learning that I need to do. Like another thing I used to do when I used to play the Warlock is I used to spend a lot of time with the dummies, particularly in Stormwind, just DPSing them down and trying to improve my performance and maximize my DPS. And I was doing quite good. I was doing quite decent. Of course, with the way World of Warcraft is, of course it is a gear dependent MMORPG, so gear does have a massive role to play. So I think, and this is what I'm talking to one of my guildies here, I think, you know, as I'm recording this, it's just popped into my head, I think I'm gonna stick to alchemy and herbalism on this character. I feel like that would be the best choice I could make, that in the long run would help not just this class, but of course as I make potions I can also send them to my other classes and hopefully sell some stuff. The only thing I need to consider is, and I guess we'll find out, I don't know, is how difficult it is to level up these two professions. Now, herbalism should be fairly okay. The question with herbalism that I got currently is how rare are the materials needed that we come across basically as we level up. Basically, with mining, for example, it can be a bit tedious at times. So compared to mining, how difficult is it to find the resources that we need for that? And of course, then going into alchemy requires quite a few types of materials. The other question is, how expensive is it to level up? Of course, bear in mind, we also still need to get our mount, which is, of course, another little task there for us to work towards. And yeah, it's gonna end up being quite an expensive ordeal, because I do want the, I forgot what it's called, journeyman or whatever, flying skill that allows us to have the full speed flying mount. So yeah, we'll see. What I meant by that is, of course, I probably didn't explain it as good as I should have. I want them on all three main characters, so that would be the Paladin, the Warlock, and of course the Death Knight when we get that. Now, what's going to be cool though, if I do manage to get at least two of them, if not all three of them, to be ready for Outlands, is we will be making quite a bit of money. Having three high-level classes offers me the possibility to farm different resources on different classes, and basically increases my chance of producing gold. I don't know if I'm going to have a specific designated banker. That's also possibly a thing I might look at. But of course, there's a lot of ground for me to cover, and so you know, we're gonna need materials. We're gonna need to unlock all of the bank tabs. That's gonna get quite expensive as well. We're gonna need the big bags that we get. So I'm not gonna actually buy anything as it currently stands from the auction house, just because I think they're quite expensive for what they are. Not worth the gold, especially with Wrath of the Lich King around the corner. Really, I think and feel that it would be a bad investment. So one of the things I will probably end up doing is I will, because I've saved up all the stuff that I had in the past off of Sethum, I will probably post what I don't need to this character, which is Akatosh, and use them up on this character if it's not, of course, soulbound to Sethum. But that's the plan. We're going to basically mail all the bags over to this character, use them on this character as we progress, and hopefully get better bags either through drops or whatever else method. Save them up and then obviously pass them on to the next character and stuff like that. If we do come to a point where we actually find some decent bags that are reusable, then I'll be using those and so on. But we'll see. We'll see exactly how we do for bags. Right now, I don't have a lot of space, but then as you can see, we're not really getting a lot to actually cover our to fill up our inventory. We have sort of completed this quest, so I might as well go and hand it in. I forgot how slow it is to to run around on the ground. It is very tedious. So I'm looking forward to hitting that 30, getting my first mount, and actually being a bit more, I don't know if we call it mobile, but faster on the ground. Just helping me get from point A to point B. Currently speaking, whilst I've already established what I'm going to go for profession-wise, I still need to establish what skill tree I'm going to invest in. I played, I think it was called Corruption. It was a Corruption Warlock, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was the one where most of the damage was reliant on dots. Now, what was cool about that is on single target, boss-like target, the Warlock hit like an absolute truck. Now, it didn't hit right off the bat. So, like your, say for example, Rogue, your Warrior, Hunter, they would out DPS me in the first couple of seconds. However, once I got off all of my dots on the boss, I would quickly out DPS them. I was doing so much damage on the Warlock that oftentimes I found that I had to basically take a quick break to allow the tank to re-aggro. So I was pulling on a lot of damage. I was okay. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet here in the sense of I was such an amazing player, because I'm not. I'm a casual player, but I spent that much time tweaking and tuning my character, and basically just learning out my rotations and stuff like that. That I was so good at it that I was able to keep up. And basically that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there were players there that were probably far better than I was. But I was enjoying it. And I think another thing that I do like about the Warlock as compared to, for example, the Paladin is actually, once we get going, we have quite a few crowd control abilities, which has its pros and cons. So we have a fear, which I'm looking forward to using. It makes them run. It makes your enemies, basically both players and NPCs, run around like headless chickens in random directions, which is good. It keeps it off of you. Of course, you know, we are not very beefy. We're basically a glass cannon, so to speak. And whilst we do a lot of damage, we break very easily. We don't take a lot of hits to be taken down. Now, of course, this is a starting zone, so you won't really notice that. But the idea with a class like, I'm kind of explaining this for those that are not regular WoW players and that are watching the content. So the idea with a cloth wearing range dealing damage doer, whatever, I probably could have said that better, but the idea is we don't get into close combat. Now, sadly, I only have 2, maybe 3 abilities, so I don't have a choice here. However, later on, I need to avoid close combat like the plague, basically, because we don't want to get hit. Getting hit by enemies hurts really, really badly. So, yeah, but we can hit like a truck. So that's the thing. That's the trade-off here. Whoop, we're going to move that way. There we go. Give you a shadow bolt. Suppose what is nice, to be honest, if I wanted to right now, with a full bar of mana, I could actually take 2 of these guys at the same time, possibly even 3, and come out alright. The only problem I have is when I run out of mana, it hurts. But damage-wise, I'm quite impressed with how good I'm doing. Of course, we're here to gather some items off of these dudes. We want their bandanas, their red bandanas. So this is one of those quests that, personally speaking, I'm not a fan of. Just because stuff like this tends to have a low drop rate. Or, yeah, I'm not lucky with these things. So yeah, one of my personal observations, and just a general life personal observation about myself, is me and luck are not friends. So if I'm relying on drop quest where we have to kill a specific type of enemy to get an item off that enemy, and we need so many items to complete the quest, normally it takes much longer for me to complete that quest, just because, well, luck, Lady Luck and me don't hang out. So it is what it is. The other thing I'm going to mention is there will be a lot of work going on in the background as opposed to the videos that come out. And so one of the issues I'm probably going to end up bumping into at one point or another is I will want to stream stuff. And of course, by stuff, I do mean World of Warcraft. But the problem I'm going to end up bumping into is, because these videos tend to be quite lengthy in time, and I tend to do multiples at the same time just to cover the days that I'm at work, I don't really have much time. Now, if I had, say, if this was my full-time job, I could definitely keep on top of it and also stream at the same time. I guess what I'm getting at with this, or trying to get to, is that it's going to become increasingly difficult to keep the streams going, and I really do want to do that. I really do enjoy actually engaging with people that do come on my streams, and it's kind of sad that I'm going to have to make that sacrifice. It's the same thing with my Discord channel. Between doing YouTube, life, and work, and everything else, I'm actually really struggling to keep on top with Discord. Now, I know that a lot of, say, other YouTubers have friends doing it for them. I haven't really got anybody to help me with that sort of side, so it's all on me. And because of the way I like to record my content, it does keep the video editing part of the process quite difficult. So it's just one of those things, but I do prefer to ensure that I am in control of the sound quality and as far as the commentary goes. So just having that option does make life a lot more easier for me. Apologies there, my voice is going a bit crackly there. I'm not quite sure what is going on. I don't suffer with like hay fever and stuff like that, so I don't really know why, but it does do that from time to time. And oddly enough, I actually find that it happens quite frequent, at least for me, and hopefully you don't really notice it too much, but it's when I do these types of long videos. I guess my vocal cords probably aren't really adjusted to talking or commentating for that length of time, bearing in mind that most of my videos tend to be guides. They tend to be within the 10-minute range, sometimes even shorter than that, but yeah, I'm not used to talking for, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 minutes, sometimes even longer than that. So I guess yeah, it's one of those things that's bound to happen. So there is this dude that keeps running around here. Now, initially, I thought he aggroed onto someone, but apparently that's not the case. He just likes to run around in circles. There you go, look, he's running right there. Oh, no, he's running towards me, so I need to be careful. I'm going to pull this dude away. Yeah, look, he's just running. I don't know if this is a bug, or this is intended. I mean, if it's intended, it's a very intelligent little thing there to catch you off guard. Look, he's just running around. Like, what is he doing? I've just seen him run basically back. Yeah, there we go. That was a resist. So, I wonder if that was a resist because that's just how it rolled, or if it was... Normally when they do resist, it's because the NPCs are resetting. So I don't really know if this guy was caught in some sort of a bug where it just kind of looped, or he was initially chasing a player, but then something happened with the AI where it just kept looping that chase moment and then returning back to his original position, or if that was intended. So really not sure what was going on there. It was interesting though. And of course, with that said, we have got what we need, so it's time to go back, hand in our quests, pick up the next ones, and by the looks of it, we are going to get a level. So let's talk to the appropriate people. Okay, I guess you're not one of them. And I'm not quite sure. Oh, shoot, okay. Well, it's back to that place. I do want to basically hand in a full set of completed quests. I mean, I could have. I realize that this is not very time effective of me, but in my own mind, I saw it in the scenario where I come back to the cathedral or chapel with a full log of completed quests and hand them all in at the same time. So with that said, it's not full, it's not completed, and in my little autistic like mind, I have not achieved what I set out to do. So I'm back here and I realize it is not time effective. I was there, I could have handed them all in and come back for this, but yeah, it's just the way sometimes I work. It's really weird, but I guess a bit of weirdness is needed if I'm still playing this game many years after it was, I suppose, worldwide famous. I mean, if you think about it, there were adverts for this game with famous actors at the time, like Mr. T, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think even Ozzy Osbourne was in one of them. Basically just advertising the game, and those adverts were not just on YouTube at that time, but they were also rolling on TV, and I remember that they were funny as all heck, especially from the perspective of being a player in this game. And I remember at one point that again, I don't remember what patch this was in, but the game had 15 million active players. So that was huge. I don't know what the player base is nowadays. It's probably gone down, but I'd say it's probably gone down by quite a lot, to be honest. But it is, nonetheless, still probably a pretty big player base. Even a couple of million active players, active users, would definitely make a difference. Okay, so I need to fight my way basically to the point that I need to get to. The question is, what is the best way of doing that? So I need to be careful here. We don't want to pull too many. Don't have too much mana to spare, so I do want to use it sparingly, so to speak. That probably sounded a bit weird. Sparingly, too many spares in the same sentence. But I didn't know how else to use it. Luckily, we did level up, so we don't have to drink. And now I feel a bit more confident. I am also constantly checking the gear that we have. Of course, anything that we get at this point in time is better than what we already have. That is a no-brainer. So it's straightforward, a replacement piece for our character. Now, aesthetically speaking, I might as well talk about this because this is one of the things that, I don't know, personally speaking, I can see why they did it. But I wish there was another option, another way. So your casters, say for example the Warlock, the Mage, and the Priest, tend to wear cloth in this game. And for some odd reason, World of Warcraft has associated cloth with these long dresses. I don't understand why. It's not something I'm a fan of, to be pretty honest with you. You know, why not just have the ability to wear cloth that looks like, you know, for example, the lower part of the body is actually pants, you know. Why do we have to wear these dresses? I can see where they got it from. There are certain religions where the priests or monks dress like this. But I would have preferred a bit of diversity in that department, which I feel like there isn't enough of. Or choice of how you want to dress your cloth character. I suppose it distinguishes them from afar, but I don't know. It's not such a big thing for me, but it's just one of those things I never actually understood why it must be a dress. I call it a dress. It's not a dress, but to me it looks like a long dress. I suppose once you get better gear later on that looks better from an aesthetic point of view, it doesn't look half bad, but still. Okay, so we got what we came for. The powers of the void. Woohoo. So with that said, I think it's time to go back and actually hand in our quest. I'm trying to look for a path out of here that does not involve me fighting. I could fight my way out and I wouldn't have an issue. But I feel like at this point in time, with the experience buff and everything, I feel like it would just be a waste of time. The XP gain is not all that significant. I guess right now I'm in a position where I don't really have much of a choice, to be honest. I'm just going to try and pull this NPC right here because I wasn't feeling very comfortable where I was at. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to fight our way out, but I'm going to, generally speaking, try and avoid combat if possible, just because I think that it's not really needed, to be honest. Especially, I mean, I suppose at this level, the XP that we get will make a bit of a difference. Later on, not so much. But just off the quest, with the Joyous Journeys buff that gives us an added 50% boost to our XP. Really, we don't need to fight unnecessary creatures. So with that said, we got ourselves our very first minion, and that is the good old imp. I'm going to place you there because you will probably be useful quite a bit to me. Glad I got the imp. And we're doing alright for levels as well. I feel, now I don't know if I'm right here, but I do feel like I am actually leveling up a bit quicker than I did with the paladin. So it definitely feels a lot smoother. Well, not really many choices there. I guess I'm going to have to get the dagger. I would have preferred a wand. But it is nonetheless an increase in our DPS, so it is what it is. Of course, we always go for the cloth. Let's quickly get some drinks here. We will need them. Drop off of what we do not need. Get rid of it quickly. At least we get some coinage back.
See you around.
Hello.
There we go. We got our next two curses, one of which, of course, is corruption. So a very nice curse there. That is actually quite a powerful curse, by the way. That was my bread and butter when I played it. That basically, as I remember it, so I might be wrong. I haven't read it, but I do need to do some reading here on the Warlock. I've done some, but not as extensive as I would have liked. But when it initially starts out, corruption is very weak. It's a damage over time debuff, but as it progresses, the damage per tick gets bigger and stronger. So with that means the final ticks of corruption tend to be the strongest hard-hitting ticks. So realistically, you want to let this particular ability or debuff run its course all the way before you refresh it, because if you refresh it too soon, you actually lose out on quite a good amount of DPS. Okay.
How are you?
All
Safe
right.
travels.
I know where she sends me, what we need to do. I don't think it's that much of a difficult thing to do. So I think it's the first... Well, I want to do that first. I want to get them grapes. We need to go back into this field where we fought these dudes for their red bandanas and interact with the giant barrels in the vineyard, I guess. They are barrels, if you want to call them that. Whatever the containers are called. And get the grapes. So, now it's time to test out our corruptions and spells and debuffs. Let's see how quickly we can deal with these dudes. I notice, right there, right off the bat, that my imp doesn't start firing unless I get hit. Don't know how I feel about that. I do wish, though, there was an option to attack your target. There is basically an aggressive, a neutral, and a passive stance, which is great. But I feel like there's also a need for a stance where the minion that you have attacks your target as you're attacking it, or after the first attack, which it's not doing. So that means I manually have to get him to attack. Locally speaking, though, he does seem to do decent damage to where we don't have to actually worry too much about being killed by these guys. So it's really not a bad thing. We got 3 of 8 bits of grapes, I guess. And of course, this is where we now start running out of mana quite frequently. Which is going to be a pain until we get life tap. That's for sure. Alright. Let's get some more of these dudes. I feel like we're about to get another level just by being in this vineyard, potentially. Yeah, see, we're getting quite a bit of XP per kill, but that's fine. It's not a bad thing.
I need to get closer.
So the fun thing about, I suppose, starting out fresh is you level up quite quickly in the start, and it progressively gets slower and slower as you get towards the end. So I'm definitely starting to feel the grind with my paladin, which at this point is actually of a decent level. So at the time of making this video, my paladin is in Outlands. However, I do realize that my videos are somewhat behind, and I do apologize for that, just the way it is. And as I said before, I don't know, from my experience speaking personally, YouTube doesn't seem to like it if I release multiple videos a day. Now, whilst I've said that, I do realize that if I were to, for example, with World of Warcraft and Conan Exiles releasing the new patch, were to basically say just focus on Conan Exiles, my content in regards to the World of Warcraft content would fall severely behind. So I would have to release 2 videos a day just to keep on top of everything, which of course does mean more work for me. But yeah, we angered a few too many there, so we're gonna run off, try and lose aggro, come back again and give that another go, really. And so one of the nice things about having a pet nowadays is, well, my pet's kind of stayed behind. He looks like he's doing alright, but he's not in a good place to be right now. I feel like I want to go and help him, but I feel like that would be a bad choice. Okay, so those dudes just ran off. We're gonna need another pet. What? Go away. That patrol came mighty close to the edge. I genuinely thought I was gonna aggro something there. I mean, I could have probably dealt with it without a pet, but I'd rather have a pet. It does make quite a big difference, if I'm honest. There is that bucket right there that I can interact with, but I'm going to have to pull you.
Still recharging. Because
last time we tried that, it didn't really work out too well for us, did it? Okay. That's it. Down you go. I mean, I'm using a lot more mana, but I have gained actually a decent amount of mana just from these couple of levels. So one of the things that's kind of cool, at least in my opinion, with regards to the differences between classes, if I'm honest, is that casters, priests, for example, warlocks, what else have we got? Mages, have significantly larger health pools compared to the hit points that they have. So that is kind of cool to see. They have significantly less hit points as well compared to other classes, but their mana pools are pretty huge. But they do rely on mana for pretty much just everything, including just breathing air. Whoop. We made new friends. We don't want to fight these dudes. I think I might let my imp deal with that whilst I pull a runner. No, that does not work. We are not friends with those dudes. I'm just trying to find a path or a place that I can get them to leave me alone, hopefully. Summon a new imp here. And, of course, we're going to get interrupted. Probably. This is not looking too good for me. Well, I could probably deal with these two dudes if my imp picks one of them up, which he's done, and I pick the other one up. Oh, this is gonna be a bad day. Wow, a death this early on is definitely not what I wanted to see. This might be my first death, we don't know. I'll see if I can actually run far away enough to kind of drop aggro on these dudes. Okay, I'm just going to wait up here for a bit and see what happens. Summon a new imp. Oh, okay. I thought they were going to get to me, but they didn't, so we're fine. I do need some more grapes. So that escalated pretty quickly. But I am here as well, so we also have this to deal with. So I think I should be just fine. I don't think he's going to last for too long. Now, one of the things that I'm going to find frustrating is as we level up and eventually end up fighting targets that are higher level than me. So one of the things that happens quite frequently with the Paladin, Jesus Christ, nearly forgot what it was called. But one of the frequent things that happened with the Paladin was there were a lot of misses on my abilities, or my abilities missed quite a bit. One thing we cannot really afford here with the caster, because each miss basically means mana wasted. It didn't matter so much with the Paladin because a good portion of our DPS came from melee attacks, whereas with the Warlock everything is mana based. So with that said, I'm going to have to be careful how I level up, and to make sure that I don't really spend my time fighting targets that are far larger than me. So, yeah, that's one of the things I need to take into consideration as well. Oh, for God's sakes. 3 of them again. These guys are very clumped together. Now, with the Paladin, not a big problem taking them on. A bit of a problem with the Warlock. We are a cloth-wearing creature, really, so I could probably deal with you if I have to. Fine. The question I've got though is, how is my imp going to survive? Or will my imp survive? I feel like my imp's doing quite decent there. And we got it back, so that is pretty cool. Oh, my imp actually survived. How nice is that? I definitely did not expect that to happen. I don't know where my imp killed them. There we go. Yes, I don't know where my imp killed them bad guys, but he has done well for me. So I'm well proud of my imp. I'm going to give him a pat on the back after this video. Just because, yeah, I didn't expect him to do that well. See, this is the difference of having a pet to help you out.
I need to get closer.
And this will be the last bit of grapes that we need. Yep. So with that said, of course, it is time to swap out some gear, give us a bit more survivability, and of course equip this, which came for free, which is really nice. I'm not going to complain. Alright, let's make our way to the quest giver, have a little chat with them. I don't really care much for you. You can keep doing that, you're going to get bored. And I don't want to waste time with you, so with that said, time to also see if there is anything new that we can learn. Although, with the toolkit that I currently have, I'm going to be honest and say, I'm actually quite happy. We can actually do a bit of damage now.
Hey there.
Alright, so here we are with our quest complete, so that is good to go. Let's go and hand it in the other quest, see what else we get given. I think this should bring us pretty much close to the end of the section. And after this, it'll be off to good old Goldshire. There's another warlock coming up in the world. I guess we'll meet at the end at some point, maybe, possibly. Unless this character gets forgotten about. Right, let's take... yeah, well, there's not really much of a choice there. Gonna go for the legs, because that is what I need right now. And then there's this dude that I've got to do stuff for. We've got to go up to the top. This is the little section that I'm probably going to forget how to get... Well, I'm going to get up there, but I'm going to forget how to get back down. Saying that? Oh, okay. I was just about to say, I kind of forgot how to get up there. But yeah, this is the one I always forget. Oh, there you are. Good old priest likes his wine.
How are you?
Might as well. Okay, well. That really doesn't make much of a difference to me. The difference in monetary value isn't really all that great. So now I need to figure out how the heck to get out of here. Oh. Ah. Ha. I always expect like a little hatch for some odd reason. So when I get up there, I don't know why, I just expect that there'll be a hatch for us to climb down, but it's not. It's actually a full flight of stairs. And so that's where the problem comes in. My little mind, hey? The way it works. So let's go and empty out our inventory.
What are you looking for?
And get rid of what we don't need. There's no point in hauling this around. Now that should give us some silver. Well, 1 silver and 31 copper to be more precise. We have that right there. That's fine. I can complete that. And I'm guessing, if I remember correctly, that after this, well, we're kind of done with this area. So it'll be a nice long run to Goldshire. It's a good thing that these kobold dudes don't aggro. They're not aggressive. They're neutral. So unless we hit them, they'll just ignore us. Saying that, at the same time, they don't, what was the word? I mean, they're quite clumped together, so we're, me personally speaking, I'm glad that they don't aggro. See right there, that's our little target right there.
I can't cast that yet.
Corruption. And a little bit of immolate, just a bit of fun. And catapult. And I just realized I don't have my imp with me, so that's not really what I need to do. But I think the other thing I was thinking about before I kind of got distracted here was I'm glad that they don't have social aggro. Imagine trying to fight multiples of these dudes or trying to fight your way into this. Don't get me wrong, this is stuff we're going to have to manage with as we play on. It's actually going to become a reality. We're going to have to do stuff like this and actually go through aggressive groups of creatures. But luckily, the Warlock is a very efficient killer. Yeah, I guess that's the word. I suppose we are killing bad guys. I mean, with all the people coming through here and doing the exact same thing, these kobolds must be able to breed like, I mean, more than rabbits, you know, just to have that many kobolds. Okay, so we'll quickly finish this one off. I'm then going to basically, I think, or at least in my mind, is once we get to Goldshower, we'll call that a day for this video and then move on from there and see where that leads us to. I don't know when the next episode is going to be for this, unless this video does extremely well. I'm planning to kind of carry on with this character when I reach level 70 with the Paladin. At least that is my plan. But if this does extremely well, then I'll have to basically alternate it between the Paladin and, of course, the Warlock. So there's that to keep in mind. But I am looking forward to playing, of course, a Death Knight as well. So, and the Warlock class. The Warlock class is brilliant. I mean, so far, right, I've got a handful of abilities on my hotbar, and I'm actually enjoying it. I can only imagine at this point how fun the class must be when you say, I don't know, about level 60-ish. And when I say 60, my mind thinks 60, but in Outland. The reason for that is 60 in the classic original World of Warcraft is not the same as 60 in Outlands. If I remember correctly, although I remember it, there's a big gear difference, which in turn, better said, translates into a significant change in pretty much everything, really. Armor value, intellect, DPS value, the whole lot. So yeah, that's basically where I'm getting at. I can only imagine how fun this class becomes at that point. Generally, from what I read, right, because I did actually do a bit of reading, just a very brief little touch of reading, but the Warlock class does start standing out towards the end game content, or, you know, towards the end of leveling up, so to speak. So, me, personally speaking, I'm looking forward to getting to that point, and, yeah, just enjoying the class, really. So, I don't know how long it'll take me to get there, but roughly, to do that with my Paladin, it's taken me about 2 weeks of work, but that's just constant on the Paladin. So, again, coming back to the time management, not quite sure how that's going to work out, but also, bear in mind, there'll be a Death Knight to work through, so there's plenty of content with regards to World of Warcraft, and plenty of work for me to more or less work through. So we're doing quite alright. I do feel, personally speaking, that I have gone through the zone a lot quicker than with the Paladin. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. Time-wise, now do bear in mind that the Paladin was literally my first class as I returned to World of Warcraft. This is my second character or class, and I already know what I'm doing, but also it might just be a placebo effect because I'm actually enjoying this class quite a bit. More than I should. Oh dear. Oh, hello. We have a friend. So yeah, personally speaking, I think it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to play the Warlock at 70 towards 80. Honestly, looking forward to it. Let's get some mana going here. These pesky kobolds with their candles on their head, digging out holes here and stuff. They are very interesting looking creatures, to be honest. It's almost like a combination of a cow with a mouse in a humanoid form, and they have a candle on their head that supposedly is the light, the beam of light that like the light on a miner's helmet, basically. I think that's what they're going for. But it looks cool. I like the way the light flickers. And right there, if we were in a zone that's not the starting zone, that dude would have aggroed onto me. We'll let the pet pick up the aggro here. So this is one of the things I need to get used to, sending the pet in first before I cast. Makes a bit of a difference there in the sense of the pet's taking the hits whilst I'm doing the hard hitting. But saying that though, the imp, although I think it's an imp, isn't it? Imp, although it's an imp, it does hit pretty darn hard. Okay, we got that dude right there. Can we get him from here? There goes my little imp. I do like the little emotes that the imp does. Or emote? Is it an emote? I don't know. The little dialogue the imp has as he's going in to attack an enemy. And personally speaking, my favorite one is the one where he goes, "Can't we all just get along?" This is coming from an imp, which is supposedly a demonic creature. So, you know, I didn't really think demonic creatures want to get along. At least that's my interpretation of that reality, that world, whatever, you know. Okay, so we are out of the mana once more. We shall put the imp on this dude. We can just about put some dots on him, but maybe a shadow bolt. I mean, yeah, just there, you saw how effective the imp was to kill the kobold. I think that's us sorted for this area. It's time to move on. Hand this quest in. And then make my way to Goldshire, really. Yeah, that's the way I'm going with it. Nice little place. Definitely a good place to start out. I do need to consider, like, again, going back to when I used to play, my first experience or starting zone as such was Darnassus. And I remember I didn't even know that you could actually add mods to the game to help you out. So just those first couple of levels, they were lengthy. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. It was a new game, and I quickly got into it, although, like I said, I had very little to no clue how to play the game, or how expansive it is, how much there is to do, how much strategy is involved in it. I was just playing it like any other game at that time, really. So yeah, I have a lot of memories of Darnassus. I've like every time I go back to Darnassus, and just not just Darnassus, but the whole Night Elf area, just immediately a throwback to when I started playing it. That is my first experience with World of Warcraft. It has a lot of memories. So I believe over this way is a lady. I believe she's called the Crazy Cat Lady. And I have to come this way once we have access to pets not being stored in our inventory. She has 4 casts to sell, and I believe that there is, or was, at least as far as I remember it, an achievement with regards to how many pets you can collect. I'm gonna try and avoid, I guess there's not, I was gonna try being the keyword there. I was going to try and run past him, but yeah, he's just going to start stabbing us in the back and just giving us a tough time until we get to Goldshire, really. There we go. That's it. Have a good look at that ground. Make sure you find every little detail. Oh, we got to... Oh, right, I'm going to try and avoid these wolves. By avoid, I mean run away from them. Oh, no, we got 2 wolves on us. That's fine. We are not far from our destination, so I don't really want to entertain them wolves. But my imp's right there. And you... screw it. I was going to try and help the imp out, but never mind. It's absolutely not worth it. I can just summon another one up. But here we are, folks. We have reached good old Goldshire. I'll get my imp out firstly. Let's try that again. When I just moved a couple of notches to the side, just because I kind of worried about something aggroing onto me. Although, if I think about it, I did kind of look around the area when I came here and didn't really see anything that would concern me immediately. So, but I don't want to be caught unaware without an imp, so we don't want to chance it. As you saw there, the imp is good at keeping our enemies distracted, giving us space and time to run away.
Need help?
On the paladin, I would have had to fight my way through that situation. There we go. We have arrived. We're going to pick up some quests here. I think I'm going to leave it here for now. This video has gone on fairly long-ish. So with that said and done, thank you all so very much for joining me in this episode. I do hope that you have enjoyed it. I will be making more videos with the Warlock. This is going to be, hopefully,
Hey there.
a full playthrough from level 1 to level whatever, 70, 80. We'll see exactly how it works out and how I do for time. So that is a key element there. Of course, I will also do a death knight, as I've mentioned before quite a few times. And yeah, there's going to be 3 classes for me to play around with. Join me in the next episodes, and until next time,
Have a good one.
stay safe, folks.